Everyone knows the stories of Thor's hammer thundering across the sky and Odin's ravens whispering secrets from the 9 realms. But what about the creatures that made these mighty gods tremble in the halls of Asgard? What about the monsters so dangerous that even the All-Father himself couldn't control them? Deep within the shadowed corners of Norse mythology lurk beings that the skalds rarely spoke of, creatures whose very existence threatened the cosmic order. These weren't your typical giants or trolls that heroes could slay with sword and strength. No, these 7 entities were something far more sinister, beings so powerful and terrifying that they would outlast the gods themselves when Ragnarok finally came. Today we're counting down 7 Norse monsters you've probably never heard of, each one more spine-chilling than the last. From cosmic entities that exist between life and death to creatures whose whispers could destroy entire realms, these beings shape the Norse world in ways that most people never discovered. But here's what makes this list truly terrifying. Most of these monsters were created by the gods' own actions, their own fears, and their desperate attempts to control forces beyond their understanding. What happens when the protectors of Midgard become the architects of their own destruction? What kind of nightmares emerge when gods make choices driven by terror rather than wisdom? And why did the ancient Norse believe that some evils are so fundamental to existence that they cannot be destroyed, only contained? Welcome to ancient underworld, where gods fall, monsters rise, and devils whisper through the shadows of forgotten myths. If you enjoy exploring the dark side of mythology, like this video, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another forgotten tale. Number 7. Sleipnir was no ordinary steed, but an 8-legged horse whose hoofbeats could thunder across the bridges between worlds. But how does a mount born from Loki's most desperate deception become Odin's most trusted companion? When the gods needed Asgard's walls rebuilt after a devastating war, a mysterious builder appeared with his magnificent stallion, offering to complete the impossible task in exchange for the sun, moon, and Freya herself. The gods, desperate but unwilling to pay such a price, turned to Loki for a solution. Loki, ever the schemer, transformed into a mare to seduce the builder's horse and sabotage the deal. However, during their encounter in the wild forests beyond Asgard's borders, Loki became pregnant and months later gave birth to an 8-legged foal of supernatural power. This creature, Sleipnir, grew to become the fastest of all horses, capable of galloping across land, sea, and sky with equal ease. Odin claimed the magnificent steed as his own, and from that day forward, Sleipnir carried the All-Father on his journeys to the land of the dead and the far reaches of the 9 realms. Those 8 legs represented the ability to travel in all directions simultaneously, embodying the shamanic traditions where Odin himself served as the ultimate spirit walker. In Norse culture, where death and life existed in constant balance, Sleipnir symbolized the bridge between these realms. Yet for all its divine purpose, Sleipnir remains forever marked by its traumatic origin, a living reminder that even the gods' most trusted companions emerge from deception and desperation. But if Odin's mount carries the weight of divine manipulation, what about creatures born purely to spread chaos? Number 6. Ratatoskr appears as merely a squirrel, but this creature carries something far more dangerous than nuts between the branches of Yggdrasil. What happens when the smallest messenger becomes the most destructive force in the cosmos? At the crown of the world tree perches Fáfnir, the eagle whose wings create the winds of all 9 realms, while at the roots dwells Níðhöggr, the dragon that gnaws eternally at the tree's foundation. Between these cosmic forces scurries Ratatoskr, whose name means drill tooth, spending every moment of existence carrying insults, threats, and provocations between the eagle and dragon. The squirrel climbs up to the eagle with venomous words from the serpent below, then scampers down with equally hateful responses, ensuring that the ancient enemies remain locked in eternal conflict. But here's what makes Ratatoskr truly terrifying. Its poisonous whispers don't stay contained between eagle and dragon. They seep into every corner of the cosmic tree, infecting the very air that flows between the 9 realms. Neither beast can reach the other, but through Ratatoskr's whispered poison, their rage grows stronger with each passing age. Even the gods themselves find their own conflicts mysteriously amplified, their words turned against each other by echoes that seem to carry Ratatoskr's malicious touch. The tiny messenger doesn't carry weapons or breathe fire. Instead, he wields something far deadlier. Words that can turn cosmic allies into eternal enemies. In Norse society, where reputation and honor determine a person's worth, this seemingly harmless creature represents one of the most feared forces, the spreader of discord, whose whispers could destroy bonds forged in blood and battle. Malicious words can poison minds, but what happens when corruption comes not from outside influence, but from within the heart itself? Number 5. Fáfnir was once a dwarf of noble bearing, but greed transformed him into the dragon that would define Western civilization's nightmares for centuries to come. After the gods accidentally killed Otyr, a dwarf who could transform into an otter, they paid his father, Hreidmar, an enormous treasure as blood money. The cursed gold called to Fáfnir with whispers that grew louder each day, until the dwarf's heart hardened against his own family. He murdered his father, Hreidmar, in cold blood and claimed the treasure, driving away his brother Regin with threats of death. But the cursed gold exacted its price. Fáfnir's skin began to harden into impenetrable scales, his breath became toxic vapor, and his mind grew as cold as the metal he hoarded. The transformation complete, Fáfnir retreated to Gnita Heath, where he lay coiled around his treasure, poisoning the very air with his malevolent presence. Only the hero Sigurd, armed with the reforged sword Gram and guided by Regin's counsel, could penetrate the dragon's defenses and claim the cursed gold. Fáfnir represents the ultimate corruption of dwarven virtues, craftsmanship, loyalty, and wisdom, twisted into avarice and murder. His transformation serves as a cautionary tale about how the pursuit of wealth can strip away everything that makes us human. Fáfnir's downfall began with a single choice, a moment where greed whispered louder than love. But individual corruption pales beside the horror of watching an entire world slowly devoured from its very foundations. Number 4. Níðhöggr dwells in the deepest roots of existence, gnawing away at the very foundation that holds the cosmos together. But why would the Norse create a monster whose only purpose is to slowly destroy everything? In the frigid depths of Sleipnir, beneath the third root of Yggdrasil that extends into Niflheim, coils a dragon whose appetite threatens all of creation. Níðhöggr, whose name means malice striker, feeds constantly on the root system of the world tree, each bite weakening the structure that supports the 9 realms. And with each passing day, as you walk the solid ground above, you can almost feel it, a subtle tremor, a barely perceptible shift that whispers of the foundation slowly crumbling beneath your feet. The ancient texts tell us that this serpent also torments the corpses of oath-breakers, murderers, and adulterers in Nastrand, the shore of corpses, where it tears flesh from bone before swallowing both the guilty and their sins. When the final winter of Fimbul winter arrives and Ragnarök begins, Níðhöggr will emerge from the underworld, its belly heavy with the corpses of the dishonored, flying over the battlefield as one of the few survivors of the world's end. The true horror isn't the dragon's hunger, it's the helpless knowledge that somewhere far below, beyond reach or sight, everything you've built stands on ground that grows weaker with every heartbeat. This dragon doesn't breathe fire or hoard treasure, it devours the very foundations of reality itself, representing the Norse understanding that destruction works from within, that the greatest threats to civilization come not from external enemies, but from the slow erosion of moral foundations. The dread of invisible decay eating away at everything you hold dear. But even that slow horror cannot compare to the terror of boundaries that both protect and threaten to destroy. Before we continue, subscribe and hit that notification bell right now, because what's coming in our top 3 will shatter everything you thought you knew about the line between monster and protector. These final creatures don't just threaten the world, they are the world. Number 3. Jörmungandr grew so massive that it literally defined the boundaries of the mortal world, its body encircling all of Midgard in an eternal embrace of threat. But what kind of terror lives in the space between known and unknown waters? Born from Loki's union with the giantess Angerboda, Jörmungandr alarmed the gods with its rapid growth. Odin cast the young serpent into the ocean surrounding Midgard, believing the vast waters would contain it. But the world's serpent continued growing until it stretched around the entire world and grasped its own tail. Hidden beneath the waves, Jörmungandr's movements cause earthquakes and tidal waves, while its breath creates the poisonous mists that rise from the sea. The serpent and Thor maintain a hatred so intense that their very proximity causes cosmic disturbances. During Ragnarök, their final battle will see Thor strike down the world serpent with Mjolnir, but not before Jörmungandr bathes the thunder god in venom so potent that Thor will manage only 9 steps before falling dead. To seafaring Norse culture, the ocean was both pathway and barrier, and the world serpent embodies this duality, defining the limits of human habitation while simultaneously threatening to destroy everything within those limits. In Jörmungandr, protection and annihilation become indistinguishable. The very thing that defines the world's edges also holds the power to crush everything within them. But even cosmic boundaries pale before the horror of divine betrayal, creating its own destroyer. Number 2. Fenrir grows stronger with each passing day, his bonds straining against a fate that even the gods cannot escape. But what happens when the gods create their own worst nightmare through the very act of trying to prevent it? When Loki's wolf son arrives in Asgard as a pup, only Tyr is brave enough to feed the rapidly growing beast. Prophecy declared that Fenrir would devour Odin during Ragnarök, forcing the gods into an impossible dilemma. Rather than kill an innocent creature for uncommitted crimes, they chose deception. Under the pretense of testing his strength, they challenged Fenrir to break increasingly powerful chains. The wolf agreed to each test, but when they produced Sleipnir, a silken cord forged by dwarven magic from impossible things, the sound of a cat's footstep, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain, Fenrir sensed treachery. He agreed to be bound only if one of the gods would place their hand in his mouth as surety. Tyr alone possessed the courage for this sacrifice. When Fenrir realized the chain was unbreakable, he bit down, severing Tyr's hand at the wrist. From that moment, the wolf lay bound on the island of Lyngvi, his rage growing with each passing day, his howls echoing across the 9 realms. Fenrir represents the self-fulfilling prophecy of fear and prejudice. The gods' betrayal transformed a potentially loyal guardian into their greatest enemy, demonstrating how attempts to prevent fate often cause it to manifest. The gods forged their own doom through fear of what might be, but even divine betrayal cannot match the cold, absolute authority of one who rules the final unknown. Number 1. Hel rules the realm of the dead with an authority that even Odin cannot challenge, her half-living form embodying the ultimate mystery of existence itself. But what makes a ruler who exists between life and death more terrifying than all the monsters that came before? Born from Loki's union with the giantess Angerboda, Hel appeared as a being of unsettling duality, beautiful and vibrant on one side, rotting and corpse-like on the other. Recognizing the threat she posed, Odin banished her to Niflheim, where she became ruler of Helheim, the destination for all who died from sickness, old age, or accident, rather than in glorious battle. Her hall El-Judnir serves as home to the dishonored dead, where she presides with equal parts mercy and cruelty. When Balder the Beautiful was slain by mistletoe through Loki's trickery, the gods sent Hermoda to plead for his release. Hel agreed to return Balder to life on one condition: every living thing in the 9 realms must weep for him. When the search revealed that one being, an old giantess named Thor, refused to shed tears, Hel kept Balder in her realm. The giantess was later revealed to be Loki in disguise, meaning death itself was denied by the very god who had caused it. Hel doesn't destroy through brute force or cosmic rage. She rules through absolute unpredictability, holding power over the one thing even gods cannot control, the boundary between life and death. Her half-living appearance reflects the liminal nature of death itself, while her absolute authority demonstrates that even gods must respect the boundaries between life and death. And that's a wrap for today's descent into Norse terror, fellow myth-seekers. These 7 monsters reveal the sophisticated understanding of cosmic forces that made Norse mythology far more complex than simple tales of heroic gods and evil giants. From Sleipnir's 8-legged gallop across the cosmos to Hel's dominion over death itself, these creatures embody the Norse understanding that the most powerful forces in existence operate beyond simple categories of good and evil. They represent entropy, transformation, fate, and the terrible price of trying to control the uncontrollable. Which of these Norse monsters sent the biggest chill down your spine? Did Fenrir's tragic betrayal hit harder than Fáfnir's corruption? Or does Hel's ambiguous nature terrify you more than Níðhöggr's cosmic hunger? Let us know in the comments below and tell us which mythology we should explore next time. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to come back soon, because we're going to have a lot of new creature videos posted in the next few weeks. And with that, we'll see you next time.